GM everyone, I'm Peter from Nearweek, your source on what's next on Near, and welcome to the Near Town Hall May edition. The world is in a moment of deep transition. The internet is changing. First it was pages, then apps, now it's agents. AI agents won't just write essays or generate images, they'll act, trade, make decisions on our behalf and on their own. To make that work, we need more than just smarter models. We need infrastructure, we need railroads, something to make open source AI monetizable and help millions, eventually trillions of agents coordinate. And that's what we are all about on Near Protocol. Near is deep AI infra, full stack, on chain, and AI native. So when we say Near is for AI, we mean it and we're building it. Let's get into it. First up, as usual, we got Near's co founder and the guy who's been thinking about AI longer than most, Ilya Pulisukin. I'm just going to add you to the stage, Ilya, and then it's all yours. Hello, sir.
Thank you.
Let me know when to change the slide.
All right, thank you very much. Hope everyone's doing well. The May is out and it's great weather almost everywhere. So let's dive in. I just want to kind of go over, I gave this talk in Dubai last week, and so I wanted to kind of give a quick review so everybody understands how all these pieces fit together. Let's go to the next slide. So Near is a blockchain for AI, but what does it actually mean, right? Why are we doing this? What is that for? And so kind of high level, right, the transition that we're seeing in the world right now is we're going from kind of aggregator-based internet and computing, where we usually go to some kind of middleman service that has done a lot of work to really kind of sift through everything that's happening on the internet. Be that Google with web pages, Amazon with products, DoorDashes with restaurants. And so they present us with already aggregated kind of solution and an easy way to search and find what we need. But they in turn become effectively a gatekeeper for this internet. They, aggregate data about what we use, where we go, what we interact with. And they kind of they are using, they've been using AI for, decades now to effectively build better product, but at the same time, make more money for themselves, right? They're kind of, it's important to understand that their focus is on making money for these companies. Now, the transformation that's happening right now is everybody's getting their own effectively AI, right? And right now we're still maybe using centralized AI versions, but we see already obviously open source versions that you can run locally. There's ways now with some of the technologies we've been building to run kind of non-local, but still fully user-owned version of AI model for you. And that gives you a new way of participating and using kind of computing and internet and interacting with everyone, kind of be that other people or other services. And so that's where blockchain for AI comes in. It's really this middleware to interconnect how AI agents, assistants, going to be talking to each other, paying each other, coming into different economic activity with each other. So let's go to the next slide. So specifically, right, this includes a whole set of protocols, right? It's not kind of a singular thing because, similarly how Google is not a singular, service, it's actually a lot of different services from indexing to search to, the kind of infrastructure to run it all at scale and scale it. This is really a system that allows to kind of facilitate this kind of economic transactions of different AI agents in a verifiable and trusted way. So what are the components? Well, the blockchain is obviously in the middle, right? It serves as a settlement layer. It is the infrastructure that allows payments, coordination, identity at a global scale. Now, we all kind of know we're living in a multi-chain world. There's assets and various different kind of integrations that exist across the whole Web3 ecosystem. And so it's important to interconnect the whole Web3 as well. And, we've been building towards this chain abstraction interface where blockchain becomes itself invisible, similar how you don't think about kind of HTTP and Amazon's cloud when you actually go into a website. Now, a more important component here that we've introduced kind of late last year is this idea of intents being the driver of digital commerce, right? We're transitioning from kind of just pure transaction, right, where I send you money, to really more how real world works, where you actually have a kind of interaction that is more complex, that is guarded by the outcome you want to achieve, not just by paying money and hopefully it all goes through. You need verifiable infrastructure, and you need obviously a way to govern all this, and where the house of state comes in. So it's a really set of protocols that working together to achieve this mission. So let's go to next slide. So it's really exciting that we actually have a truly scalable blockchain to power all this, right? This is where Near protocol started kind of developing. With a focus on developing this to be really easy to use, easy to build on, and kind of be transparently scalable, so that you as user or developer never need to worry about hikes and fees or kind of limited capacity of the network. We had really exciting resharding, going from 6 to 8 shards that has transitioned within one block time, so we can actually now add capacity to the network on extremely fast time. We have obviously reduction in finality and block time, which brings us to kind of state-of-the-art finality in Web3 ecosystem. And we have truly kind of scalable applications using sharded smart contracts coming in the second quarter, where you really can build applications that have hundreds of millions of users or billions of users, really can scale with the blockchain now, not just try to fit all into one contract. And all of this has been done by Near1, one of the companies in the ecosystem, really kind of honestly delivering amazing outcomes consistently without any downtime. Next slide. So of it, kind of just zooming out, right? We've had them really good growth on users and transactions over the past 2 years. We're at about 50 million monthly actives. Was about 4 million daily actives, and kind of continue ramping up transactions on chain. Next slide. The other part is the kind of this interconnectivity, really making sure that as a user, developer, or an agent, you can actually navigate and hold assets across all chains. This really kind of moves Near not just into this new category, right, where we sit above all blockchains, but it's important to understand that AI agents are really always sit above all chains, right? They don't kind of naturally fit into a single blockchain. And so this infrastructure is critical, because all agents effectively need some middleware, and either you need to implement it in every single agent, or you can use this shared middleware that already integrated all those blockchains in an easy way, navigate across all chains and all assets. So obviously there's been nice upgrades on chain signatures, including EDDSA support recently to integrate the rest of the blockchains. And Omnia Bridge connecting kind of not just writing, but also reading from other chains. Next slide. So this allows to power a whole host of new applications, right? Applications that really making it invisible, kind of what chains you're using, and instead really focusing on the experience. So RIA just launched a Bitcoin version where you can connect with a Bitcoin wallet and trade or borrow again Bitcoin in an easy way. And it looks like a Bitcoin application, even though every single transaction and assets are all living on here. Satoshi Port is working on prime brokerage, where you can put your Bitcoin and then go and use applications across the whole Web3, right? Hyperliquid, Pump.Fund, Uniswap, Magic Eden, and all of the kind of marshalling, borrowing, using gas fees, etc., is handled underneath using chain signatures and intents. Templar is a lending protocol that supports as well multiple chains, and you can borrow against it in a very transparent way. And More Markets is really allowing to tap into all the liquidity and all of the kind of yield opportunities across all chains, really kind of matchmaking that. And again, all of this really leveraging kind of near chain signatures and this idea of chain abstraction in an easy way, providing users new capabilities. Importantly, all of those capabilities then rolling into AI as well, and AI agents as well. Next slide. And then on the other side, on the user side, right, we have wallets now that also leveraging this capability to bring this experience to end user, right? You have Hot Wallet that has over 120 chains now supported, where you don't even need to have gas fees of those destination chains. You don't need to figure out what token they use. You can just directly connect to apps and use them. And they have gas refuel to fund the transactions. They have obviously swap exchange integrated. They have ability to marshal assets, and then themselves bringing users to now other chains. Similarly, Sweat Economy is introducing that as well, and Infinex has been using kind of intents and chain signatures to really start bringing non-smart contract chains to their users. So it's really kind of like this is already transitioned from, last year when I was talking about this was very much kind of a theory. Now this is in practice in users' hands, where users don't even may know that this specific application is on that specific chain. They can just connect their wallet that supports all of these chains kind of in a very invisible way. And you don't need to the gas fee here is an X token and I only have Y token. That problem should disappear as well. Next slide. So I mentioned intents as kind of this new way of doing binding digital commitments. I think this is a pretty fundamental transformation that's happened both in crypto and in AI world. In general, in the AI world, most kind of traditional AI companies, I call it thinking in a single player mode, where they effectively assume AI belongs to you and doing everything on your behalf and just kind of exist like that. They don't think about how will my AI work with your AI, how my AI will work with a pharmaceutical company, with a factory, with a farm, and figure out how to achieve a mutually beneficial kind of outcome. And so this is where kind of intents and agent interaction transactions protocol that we introduced comes in to really allow to do these things. Now, the simplest thing is obviously just swapping assets, any token, any chain, any fiat, any real world assets. But you can then go and actually start adding things that don't have liquidity. What if I want to get a house, right? Normally, I would need a real estate agent, or you can have an AI agent that is actually doing their job, finding the right opportunities, discussing with you, creating binding commitments on buying it, figuring out mortgage, etc. Right. So you're starting to transition from just pure kind of exchange of pure value to a more ongoing conversation process that has a binding commitment in it. So really important concept continues to be developed. Diffuse Labs is leading development here. And so if you go to the next slide, the benefit is we already have this running with other ecosystems as well, and really kind of highlighting like Zcash, for example, using this unstoppable liquidity to really I think we're now have more volume on intents than they have on Binance because their user base really prefers unstoppable liquidity with their unstoppable money. Berachain as well, and Gnosis kind of highlighted from their ecosystems the usage because it really kind of interconnects them with a lot of other ecosystems. And then Stellar recently, through Hot, seen a massive growth in users as well. So kind of just showing you how this kind of not just opens up for users, but also opens up ecosystem that before maybe have been having a limited access to on-chain tooling and DeFi. Next slide. Now, the next part is how do we actually have agents we can trust? How do we have AI that we can actually trust that it's doing the right job? And so this is where Fala been doing amazing work on really delivering trusted execution environments, both for running traditional kind of computing with CPUs and doing running models on GPUs on NVIDIA, Hopper, Zoom, Blackwell systems, where you actually have a full certification that not even the owner of the hardware can influence what's done and can access the information that happens inside. And so this is extremely important because this really enables a lot of those user-owned benefits, right? Confidentiality, verifiability, ability to trust that if I give my data to this agent, it's not going to leak it somewhere, and ability to verify on-chain that some action happened from an kind of on-chain agent. Next slide. One of the other pieces that's required is actually so-called proof of response. So this is ability to verify that the service that's doing the work actually is doing it and returning a response. And so we have Martian engineering team that's been working on this and kind of will be looped in with the T infrastructure and our near core to really provide this new level of verifiability on the networking stack. Next slide. And so all of this together kind of will form what we call decentralized confidential machine learning cloud, really ability to run kind of GPUs anywhere that can join this network. They get paid for providing their hardware while users can actually use them without, with guarantees that all of their data stays confidential and all the computing is correct, right? Because right now you can, if you're using any kind of AI service, you have no idea where the data goes. You also don't know which model you're using, even if they're telling you you're using some specific model. So here you'll have all those guarantees. This also opens up ability for model developers to host their models here verifiably in such a way that nobody can steal their weights, but everybody can use it and pay them for usage, right? So it actually solves problems both for users and enterprises who don't want to leak their data, and for model developers and agent developers who don't want to leak their code but want distribution. So it really creates this marketplace of models and agents on one side and user enterprise on another. And so if we go to the next slide, all of this gets packaged into Near AI, where we have Agent Hub and Model Hub, where you can actually host your models, host your agents using this infrastructure under the hood to really enable kind of verifiable agents and verifiable and private interactions over time. Next slide. Built by Near AI. And then Proximity kind of leveraging all of the stack to show you how on-chain agents work, right? So this is the idea of so-called shade agents. You can effectively consider them on-chain agents, where the agent logic lives inside trusted execution environment, inside TE, for example, in Fala Cloud. The verification kind of whatever starts triggering there, and then it calls a smart contract, which verifies that it came from the kind of this verifiable secure enclave, and based on that can go and act both on Near and on all of the chains, right? So you have kind of all of those pieces coming together. And so if you have missed, we had, next slide, a Mindshare agent launched by Proximity that effectively show you how to use all of the stack together, right? We have Kaito AI, which has a share of voice of different assets that this agent would analyze and decide how to allocate to a different assets, its portfolio, and then it used intents to rebalance its portfolio to match this kind of share of voice. And so I think I saw on Twitter actually that it's been doing pretty well so far, kind of growing its portfolio, kind of 2% week over week. So that's just kind of example of really putting all of those pieces together, right? This is an on-chain agent that's using TEs, intents, chain signatures, and blockchain to settle, to really all kind of like tie together this future of effectively autonomous agents that can be trading, interacting, providing services, and kind of delivering this to the end user. So think of it as AI assistants living on the user side, kind of AI agents living on business side, and autonomous agents kind of interacting with everyone and providing their own set of services and governed by kind of AI governance as well. So next slide to just conclude, Near really has been building this purpose-built kind of ecosystem where we have, convergence of AI and crypto, right? And it's important to understand like this is all, different teams building different components of this that really fit together kind of to form this kind of blockchain for AI ecosystem. So I'm really excited. Thanks. I mean, obviously, there's some people who going to present after me working on a lot of these components, but I'm really excited. As we bringing a lot of more of these things to market and kind of gaining distribution on them. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Ilya. And I highly recommend everyone to go listen to the latest A16Z crypto podcast, where Ilya was a guest a few weeks ago. If you want to know more about and get to understand the convergence of crypto and AI, and where AI, probably the most powerful technology developed today, is headed, and why crypto is the enabler, the railroads that will truly set it free. Next up, we got CTO from Near AI, Eric Weiner, and I know he's been busy building. Eric is here to remind you all what Near AI is all about. I'm just going to add you to the stage, Eric. There we go. And adding your screen as well. 1 second. Just actually stop sharing my screen. Folks, remove other media. I'll just have to remove my own. Remove, and there we go, Eric. It's all yours.
All right, thanks. Hey everybody, I'm Eric Weiner from Near AI, here to give you a little update on what Near AI has been up to. Just as a reminder, you just heard a lot from Ilya about how Near is the blockchain for AI, very well suited to AI applications, and there's a lot of AI projects being built on Near. Near AI is a particular project. We are Near aligned, trying to let users own their own assets, own their own data, not rely on central authority. So we are the Near aligned platform for building user-owned AI. We are not the only way to use Near and AI, as you just saw. We are one of many. We are proud to be part of the Near ecosystem. So please keep in mind all the amazing things happening on the Near blockchain using AI that aren't just us. That said, a lot of great stuff happening on the Near AI platform. We are about to hit our 1,000th agent. So if you are an AI agent developer, try to go hit agent 1,000. We'll give you some kudos in our Telegram chat. Getting more and more AI agent interactions, and especially something I love to see, more agent-to-agent interactions, which is one of the special strengths of the Near AI platform. Few things happening on the platform. If you've used it in the past and want to come back, just in most of this in the last couple of weeks, if not the last month or so. Token streaming and logs improvements for AI agent developers. This is something that's a little more involved than just like talking to ChatGPT and seeing its output, because an AI agent can do a lot of sort of value-added services on the thing that you're sending out. So having that sort of intermediate step stream back all the way to the user can be very helpful. We now support multimodal agents, file uploads, interacting with agents on different levels. We have AITP, which we announced a couple months back at this point. This is a protocol for agents to pass structured data to other agents. So in addition to just speaking over text, natural language interface, we envision AI agents sort of across trust boundaries, just over HTTP protocols or WebSockets or what have you, being able to communicate using these structured messages as well. Now, today you can use that for things like approving a Near transaction, or asking for a particular decision out of a list of options, or filling in a standard form like a shipping address. And in the future, we're building in more wallet support. We're building in a very an AI native payment protocol and a human in the loop attestations, and a lot of great features that help these AI to AI interactions go smoother. The Near AI platform supports running agents that are built on top of LangChain or Coinbase Agent Kit. Basically a configuration only upload, very few code tweaks required. So makes it one of the easiest ways to host an agent that's been written using one of these frameworks. And I'm very excited about this coming very soon. It's just in the final stages of review, is a new TypeScript SDK contributed by the Jutsu team. That sort of gives a more, we have a TypeScript SDK right now, but it's kind of more of a port of the Python SDK. This is more of a TypeScript native SDK, so you can build AI agents in your most familiar language. So tons happening on the Near AI platform. In addition, we have sort of Near and AI integrations working on outside of what you see on the Near AI platform itself. I'd like to call out again Shade Agents, like Ilya called out. Amazing stuff there. A few that you may not have heard of yet. Coinbase has recently released a no or low KYC fiat on-ramp. You can buy up to $100 of USDC on Base. But if you integrate that into Near Intents, now you can have easy onboarding, low or no KYC on-ramp to any crypto. So on the screenshot here is an example of doing that straight to USDC on Near, but of course with the power of Near Intents, that could be to Bitcoin, it could be to anywhere. Additionally, Coinbase also released a spec for what they're calling the X402 payment protocol. It's a little bit, it's somewhat overlapping with what I just talked about with AITP, but really a little bit more minimal, so we can still build on top of that. Similarly, they built it to sort of work on Base, but Robert and the team here has extended it to be able to work with Near Intents. So we've got a pull request open to the Coinbase team, and we've been partnering with them on a lot of their AI agent work. I think it's been very exciting stuff. To those of you watching on YouTube, I'm dropping links to this stuff in the comments. To those of you watching on Twitter, check my Twitter, which I think is linked right there for these links. All right, that's what I had to show you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for coming, Eric. Keep cooking. Super excited to hear more about all the stuff that you're doing agent-wise with Coinbase, and in general, just making it super easy to deploy real autonomous agents on Near. So everyone stay tuned for stuff coming out from Near AI. Next up, we got Lane Reddick, who's running the governance, or the latest governance experiment that for now on Near protocol called House of Stake. And he's here to give an update on everything that he's been working on lately. Lane, let me just bring you on stage. Which one is it? This one. Lane, are you there? Oh, sorry, there are like 3 of you. This is the one.
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, sorry,
and which one?
That was a backup. That was a backup.
Always good to have a backup. I like that.
Especially when you're on Linux, things tend to go wrong. So
yeah, sure. All right, take it away.
Just a quick time check. Do we have a target? Is it like 10 minutes or something?
Yeah, 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
All right.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Lane. I do research at the foundation, and my main project right now is House of Stake. Hope everyone is well. So I'm excited to give everybody an update. Things are cooking. Things are moving very quickly in House of Stake land. Hopefully that will become clear in the presentation. So I never want to assume too much prior information or context, so I'm going to very briefly introduce House of Stake and its goals. I'll give you a snapshot of the roadmap and where we are right now, what's coming. I'll briefly introduce the working groups that have been established. I will give you a sneak peek, so some alpha dropping here into what the House of Stake front end is going to look like. And then with any time we have left, we'll talk about the really fun stuff, which of course is the AI piece. So what is House of Stake? Basically, it's the social governance layer for the entire Near ecosystem, the protocol. The goals here are to correct some of the mistakes of the past, to learn from what's working well in other ecosystems, and to gradually move towards maximally decentralized community-driven governance. I like always to start with principles and values. You can see the list here. I'm, want to be very clear. I'm responsible for like bootstrapping this project, but in no way, shape, or form is House of Stake only my project, right? It is by definition a community project. So if anybody here has any thoughts, pushback, concerns, you think things are missing or whatever, please feel free to DM me. My DMs are always open on X and a bunch of other places, Telegram as well. But yep, we want to gradually embrace community-led governance. As I said, we want to keep things simple, right? I think this is partly learning from the mistakes of the past. We want as much transparency and accountability as is feasible at every stage of the project. We want to reemphasize that governance should always be permissionless. And of course, building trust, very, very important, including old-fashioned ways like face-to-face meetings. The bottom line goal of the House of Stake is actually to just build this solid foundation of community-led governance that can be used to build a thriving, or I should say continue to build and expand a thriving ecosystem on top. Obviously, there's some overlap there with the goals of the NEAR Foundation and other folks and other players within the ecosystem, and that's healthy, that's by design. The vision here is that over time, as it matures, House of Stake will take on more responsibility, the scope will grow, and it will hopefully over time be able to take on at least some of the things that are being done by the foundation today. And then some intermediate goals. You probably heard me speak about these before, right? We definitely want to improve the economics of the protocol, and this discussion is beginning in earnest now about what that will look like. Having said that, even if we do something like reducing inflation, we want to make sure that life is good for the validators, and ideally even better than it is today under House of Stake, and that more validators decide to join and help us decentralize the protocol. Of course, we always want to maintain or ideally increase the security of the network through things like increasing the number of validators and the economic security. And I guess another goal here that we haven't talked about as much is, and this gets into some of the AI stuff, governance is hard. It's a huge burden. Anyone who's been active in DAOs can tell you that. And so actually we want to lean heavily into AI to reduce some of that burden on the human actors in NEAR governance. This is probably the most interesting slide here. And I'm realizing now the font is probably pretty small unless your monitor is sharper than mine. Of course, happy to kind of share this later. I don't think we have time to go through everything that's going on. I did my best to kind of divide into two timelines here. So the top is, as you can see, kind of the main area of focus right now, which is getting the initial House of Stake product out of the door, bootstrapping the governance. And then in parallel to that, we have other things cooking, which are related to kind of AI, which we'll talk about later, some of these AI initiatives, as well as some more pure research. Maybe I'll just speak to the second piece first, because there's less things there. We're working on a research partnership with a major research university. I hope to be able to share details on that soon, right? So we're actually very excited to come up with some falsifiable hypotheses and work with some postdocs and some faculty and really just explore these incredibly fascinating questions at the intersection of AI and governance. And the outcome here should be some real research papers and some conference presentations. I'm excited about that. And then flipping back up to the kind of governance piece here, we have our delegates in place. You can see the dotted line is where we are today. The delegates have begun meeting, have set up a set of working groups, which I'll introduce in a moment. We should very shortly have some draft proposals ready. I mentioned a couple times House of Stake is hiring for a couple of roles, including a head of research role, and I owe everybody a job description that should be in place shortly. And then we should see the product come together. So the first piece here, well, I guess it's very clear, Q2. So moving into Q3, we should have an alpha version of the House of Stake front end by the end of this quarter, actually, and then we expect that to actually go live with an official launch and a final polished product sometime around the middle of Q3. I'm going to keep moving in the interest of time. Again, happy to share this slide. So I think it's worth pointing out that we have these 11 initial delegates. I'm really excited about the progress that they're making, which is very, very rapid. I personally and the foundation have had a pretty light touch here. I mean, of course, I'm here as a resource and trying to be helpful where I can and answer questions as they arise. But on their own, the delegates have really stepped up and have already established these 4 working groups. Again, I'm not going to read through this list. You can read it on your own, or I can share the deck afterwards. But I think that these 4 working groups really speak to a lot of the value of House of Stake and some of the early areas where we think they're going to have an impact. They self-organized into working groups. The working groups each have a lead. They've begun having calls. And since this is kind of an ecosystem town hall, I'll mention that there's a lot of dialogue about how to open this up as much as possible to the community that's happening right now, in particular in the third working group, which is the Governance, Infrastructure, and Processes Working Group. If that's a conversation you're interested in being a part of, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to connect you to the folks who are working on that. So on product, the backend smart contracts that power House of Stake were finished. You can see there was a release here at the beginning of April. So shout out to the Fastneer team. This is all open source, right? So if you go to Fastneer/House of Stake contracts on GitHub, you can see the actual code. It's been audited as well. The audit has wrapped up. I believe the final items are being addressed this week. So our friends at Halborn did that work. So shout out to them as well. So that's really, really good news. The backend is really critical. And also, again, a shout out to Fastneer here. As you can see, no critical, no high, no medium issues whatsoever in the code. I think that that's really fantastic given how critical this code is and how much Near is going to be flowing through it. The front end, so if you've seen Agora before, I'm gonna go ahead and try to just do this on
Good
fast
morning.
forward.
As Matt said, we have a demo here that we're going to be now updating on a daily, weekly basis. So as promised, this will be our staging environment that will continuously be updating. So you can see here, we've got some early proposals being indexed and some votes happening here. Not everything is wired up here, so this is all pretty simple right now. So you can vote, but there are no...
I'll just kind of kill the audio. I'm not even sure if you guys could hear it, but yeah, this is a super quick demo of what the House of Stake front end is going to look like. You saw it here first. Nobody anywhere has seen this before. So again, real alpha dropping here. Agora has been a fantastic partner. We're really excited to be working with them, and they have built front end. So this should look pretty familiar if you've seen the work on projects like ENS and Uniswap that are using Agora. They really are best in class, and we're really excited to see this taken to the next stage and go live. So yeah, this is what the process of creating a proposal looks like. You can see there's some proposals in the system here. I believe, yeah, so this is kind of just like a simple dashboard. You can see the VE Near token is live here as well. You can stake your Near into VE Near, and then you can delegate it to one of the delegates. You can vote on proposals. So that's the kind of set of functionality that we're targeting here for the initial product release. So yeah, again, shout out to Agora for really fantastic work on getting the front end running. And then just super briefly, I know we're kind of up against time here, but the direction we're going here is AI everything, right? This is Near. We are excited to lean very heavily into AI in House of Stake, as we are in other areas. Obviously, you just heard from Eric and from Ilya about how things are going on the Near AI side. We are excited in House of Stake to be relying on Near AI infrastructure as well. This piece I've spoken to, I think, even here on the town hall before a few months ago, right? So we're kind of breaking the AI work into 3 phases. So the assistant, which is a simple chat tool, and we expect to be able to deliver that pretty soon. The AI delegate, a lot to say about this. Work has begun. We have a couple of ecosystem partners, people who are working on this in other ecosystems, including Ethereum and Gitcoin. The most recent Gitcoin grants round actually did include a few AI agents that were helping with public goods funding, which is one of the first things we expect to be able to use AI agents for in House of Stake. And then Ilya's grand vision of the AI CEO, you'll hear more about that later this year. And then, yeah, so I spoke a moment ago about how we're working on a major research lab partnership. I just want to emphasize again that we are serious about research, right? We're talking not just about blog posts and forum posts and things like that. We are actually working towards some real public goods research here. So really working at the cutting edge, the forefront of knowledge globally, and in things like the intersection of AI and governance, working with the best people in the world on that. In addition to just papers and conference talks, we're also thinking of training actually a model specifically on governance, and we have some folks who are excited to work on that with us. And I just kind of picked the top of the heap here, 3 of the questions that are on my mind. I'm trying to come up with an initial list of these research topics, and again, turning them into like proper falsifiable hypotheses, that a real academic researcher or a postdoc can sink their teeth into for as long as a year. And so again, anyone here who has thoughts along these lines, I'd be very excited to hear them. Now would be a great time to have that conversation. That is it from me. Thank you for listening. My DMs are always open.
Thank you so much for coming, Lane, and telling us much more. As you can hear, folks, a lot of stuff is going on around governance on NEAR, and we're really trying to take it to the next level. So go check out what's being built, be supportive, be constructive, and let's move the NEAR ecosystem one way, which is forward. All right. Next up, we got Andy from Frex Finance. Hello, Andy.
Hey guys.
How's it going?
Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you loud and clear. I'm just gonna add your presentation to the stage. It's all yours, Andy.
For sure. Amazing. Yeah, thank you guys for having me. The last presentation was really great. I do want to keep it pretty simple due to the timeline, the time constraint that we have here. So I'm from Frax. My name is Andy. And you guys probably might have heard us as we just did a hard fork from Frax to Frax USD. And you guys may know us kind of as the team that works with NEAR protocol to further realize a multi-chain vision through programmable currency and user-owned artificial intelligence. So in many ways, we're trying to power a lot of the things within the NEAR ecosystem with our stable coins. I think we've worked with I think it's RIA Finance. I think they were called Ref Finance before. So to kind of power the DeFi side of NEAR ecosystem, that's another angle that we were working on. But today I wanted to talk kind of about what Frax USD is and what sFrax USD is, as those assets are also live on NEAR. So our mission basically being like the first is basically being the first legal tender stablecoin to get chartered after US legislation. So mainly our vision is to kind of convert old digital money into a new legal tender digital dollar that can be used on chain, earned yield, used by AI and etc. to upgrade the global financial system. So you can think of us as like a project that is very heavily aligned with NEAR's alignment in terms of vision as well. And with our roadmap that we announced earlier last month or 2 months ago, AI was actually a very huge part of it. And we're very, NEAR has been so supportive, and we're very happy to, work with NEAR all the time. And moving forward, just wanted to dive deeper into how Frax USD is now different as a payment stablecoin. So now we're the most, one of the most secure, stable, and scalable digital dollars, as you can see here. We basically earn T-bills from underlying Frax USD. And, for selected partners and strategic partners, we give up to 100% of the T-bill yield back. And why is Frax USD so important, and why do we see it as one of the top stable coins and payment stable coins in the future? It is actually a completely new flagship stable coin that is completely backed by treasury bills, by institutional partners. So we launched this with BlackRock, Superstate, and Securitize as our main T-bill yield backers. So users can actually mint and redeem Frax USD by holding T-bills, and BlackRock represents us as that of BUIDL token. So how we work with different protocols, and why we see that this is a good competitive edge in the stablecoin industry, is that we try to make it a very grow the pie strategy, where we offer institutional partners and strategic partners the T-bill yield back, where they can use that the way they want to, whether it be powering their DeFi side of things. And the Frax USD, the token itself, is actually not a rebasing or an RWA T-bill token. It is a fully payment stable coin, and it's going to get regulated legally in the US tender. And by that law, we are actually able to give the token itself yield back, because it's supposed to be a payment stable coin. And as you can see here, institutional grade security and backing, as mentioned, BlackRock, Superstate, WisdomTree, and way more partners coming that we have moving forward to announce. And when we did this pivot to go into payment stablecoin, we wanted to think of ourselves as bringing back the original Libra vision back to life with Frax. So I'm not sure how familiar for those of you guys are watching with Libra, but we wanted to kind of not replace, but basically become what the Libra vision is for Frax USD. And that's why we aim to, and have actually all of these partners on board with us to move forward with our vision. And that's pretty much it about FraxUSD. And you guys will see a lot more of us in the Near ecosystem with our payment stablecoin to kind of power the AI and DeFi side of the ecosystem at Near. And yeah, that kind of concludes a huge short brief of our what Frax is and what FraxUSD is. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Andy, and telling us a little bit more what you guys been up to at Frax. Sounds super interesting. And I cannot wait to see how we're going to take DeFi on Near and autonomous money, autonomous programmable money to the next level. All right. Next up, we got Eric from Intellix, who recently raised their first round. And I'm really excited to hear more about what they're building. Hello, Eric. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great.
All right. I added your slides. Please take it away, sir.
Sure. Very excited to be part of the Near ecosystem. And as Ilya said a few moments ago, the real challenge is going to be how does AI work together? And that's something that we're trying to do at Intellix, which is deploying technology and infrastructure to support cross-chain agent interoperability and collaboration management. And you could say that what we're doing is we're in the trenches. We're working with enterprises, and what we've seen in the enterprise work that we've done is really three interesting things. The first is that enterprises are expecting their multi-agent systems to solve complex problems, not merely just automate certain business operations. And when that happens, what they're also expecting is that those multi-agent systems are open, meaning that there's not a fixed number of agents that might be involved in solving a complex problem, but there might be multiple agents, and those agents are constantly changing. The agents are joining the problem-solving force, or they're departing from it, and agents are also expanding. In our work with some enterprise customers, we're seeing that you may start off with 20 agents to solve a complex problem, but by the end of the particular implementation, you may see 50 to 60% growth. So the problem then is what happens in this open agent ecosystem, and how do agents work together? How do agents share their provenance, their reputation, their skill sets, their shared knowledge? And what we frequently find is that because agents operate probabilistically, is that agents 35% of the time will come up with their own solutions to the problems that are not what we as the programmers of those agents are actually expecting. And so you see this highly probabilistic ecosystem as these agents work together to solve these complex problems. And so how do you use blockchain, and specifically, how do you use the Near infrastructure to be able to enable agents to interoperate, to be able to communicate together? And it's not only do they share the same large language model, but frequently those agents will speak different languages. And I'm not talking about French and German. What I'm talking about is the fact that have you ever had an agent that is managing inventory talk to an agent that is working on supply chain or working on marketing? They talk totally different languages. And as a result of that, how agents make decisions and how that multi-agent system governs itself becomes critically important. So this is where Near, and specifically Near Intents, becomes critically important. We're working with Near Intents to begin to use Near Intents to handle reputation tracking. Where did this agent come from? What kind of reputation does it have? What expertise does it have? Do I really want it to be part of this multi-agent system? Do all the agents agree that a specific event just occurred? Did we in fact increase inventory, or did we in fact complete this transaction on a contract? Because it's probabilistic, we've seen situations with our enterprise customers in which there might be 3 out of 5 agents disagreeing about whether a particular outcome was actually achieved. And finally, how do we federate memory with all these agents in this open system trying to collaborate together? How do they share memory? And Near Intents is an absolutely perfect infrastructure to be able to support the federation of memory, the ability to track reputation, and the ability to just to achieve consensus around specific events. So what is the Intellect's infrastructure? Well, we're using agent interoperability, especially cross-chain, using near intents to create a persistent memory for a very dynamic multi-agent system. We're also creating the ability to verify agent reputation and skill set, and then achieving probabilistic consensus. Did this agent system actually achieve the outcome that they actually expected? We're doing that using a set of protocol primitives, which we call Sentinels, which are modular blockchain services that allow us to use directed graphs, stigmergent coordination, a lot of things that come out of the multi-agent systems literature about how to be able to manage these highly unmanageable agent systems that are actually deployed to solve complex problems within the enterprise. But you may be interested in how do we actually sell this to enterprises? Well, we don't talk about blockchain. In fact, we don't even talk about agents. In fact, we don't even talk about AI. What we do is we talk about these multi-agent systems built on top of NEAR as digital workers, and we sell them exactly like you would sell a human workforce. You can see on the left-hand side a resume from one of our digital workers, and on the right-hand side a series of screenshots from a digital worker management platform that we provide to our enterprise customers that allow them to see how are these agents working together, or how are these digital workers working together to solve problems? How are they communicating together? What are the reputations of the digital workers that are now part of this ecosystem? And we're excited to share that with not only with our customers, but also with other members of the NEAR ecosystem. And I'll give you a very concrete example. We're working with a very large food broker in the United States. Food brokers are an outsourced sales team. So you might have several hundred food manufacturers that can't afford to hire salespeople to call on restaurants or hospitals or schools. And the food broker actually has this sales force. And so one food broker with 200 food manufacturers, we're actually deploying and managing close to 300 agents that allow the broker and the food manufacturers to coordinate things like, where do we market? Who do we sell to? What kinds of discounts should we give and apply to the specific customer? Each of those agents are not controlled centrally, but are totally decentrally managed because the agents are coming from multiple different places, from the food manufacturers, from outside vendors, from the actual broker themselves. And so each has its own unique strategy, its own large language model, its own goals, and its actual own language. And so the ability for these agents to interoperate, especially if those agents are on chain, on different chains using near intents, becomes critically important to us. So we are deploying digital worker teams for that food broker to handle things like ordering, logistics, pricing, and we're allowing third-party agents that might come from manufacturers and retailers to come into this problem-solving ecosystem and work together. All the while underneath, payment transactions for agents, the transfer of data between agents, and the tracking of reputation and memory become critically important, and how it is that business enterprises can feel comfortable that this open multi-agent system that is working to solve these logistics and ordering problems can actually do that successfully. One of the exciting things that we're doing beginning next week on May 12th is providing to the NEAR ecosystem what we call NEAR Times Enterprise, opportunities to be exposed to the kinds of business use cases that our enterprise customers have, and to invite agent developers who are interested in real life agent frameworks, or are interested in developing agents that can be part of these systems that we're deploying, to participate in the development of those. And those are going to be live AMAs. We're going to be talking about the actual use case, the agent requirements and needs that we have, looking for partners to help us develop those, and then talk technically about how those agents need to interoperate using the Intellex infrastructure. We're anticipating a TGE in the next 3 weeks and focused right now on consumer packaged goods, logistics, and retail media industries, bringing to bear these multi-agent systems, these digital workers that are able to handle logistics, inventory, sales, and marketing efforts. And our goal right now is by the end of 2026 to have deployed these digital workers who are specialized in or specialists in food service operations, sales, marketing, inventory management, try to achieve a goal of 85% of those food manufacturers and food brokers would be on the Intellex infrastructure, which of course means that they're going to be on Near, using Near Intents for all of the reputation management, memory management, intelligence sharing, etc. And we're also excited that we just have completed a vesting contract for Near Builders in partnership with RIA Finance that we're making available in open source to allow other projects to accelerate their ability to leverage Near, not only the infrastructure, but the ability to finance their projects and participate in this exciting vision that Ilya has laid out. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much for coming and telling us more about Intellex, Eric. Really interesting to hear all the stuff you guys got going. And as Eric mentioned, if you are a company or a project building on Near and you'd like to be part of like this showcase series, do not hesitate to reach out to Eric or us, as we would be very happy to help you facilitate, run the series and put a spotlight on how enterprises can adopt decentralized technology powered by Near Protocol. Lastly, we got Felix from Xtrace AI. And Felix, you're here today to tell us much more about secure AI agent knowledge and memory for collective intelligence, if I'm correct.
Yes.
Yes, I'm just gonna add your presentation to the stage. 1 second. There you go. Take it away, sir.
Excited.
Oh, sorry. I'm gonna move my.
Hey everyone, really excited to be here and thank you for inviting me on the event. So we are Xtrace. We are the private context and long-term memory layer for AI agents. So what we do is that we create an encrypted vector database that, using our proprietary search algorithm, can do semantic search on ciphertext, which means now that the AI agent can send out encrypted query to fetch data that is encrypted as well. So we really align with the Near's vision about like there will be trillions of personal agents for business and consumers. And in the future, the large language model will become a commodity. And what really matters is how we coordinate the proprietary data it has access to, the tool it has access to, and how it communicates with other agents. So the shift will become from public knowledge only to personal and proprietary data. And then from local only memory to shared encrypted context. So different agents can share their own memory and maintain a persistent stateful conversation between each other. And by unlocking all of this, we can lead to the future from isolated tools to intelligent collaborators between different agents. However, to realize this future, we really need to build out these new technical building blocks. The first one is this private knowledge store and retrieval. So now that AI agent can securely maintain state and have a state of their own memory, the knowledge, and the context all together as a unified memory layer, and allow agents to store it and retrieve it. And while making sure that no one except the agent owner have access to it, or the one they want to share with. And then we can connect all of this and create this unified long-term memory layer so that whenever you're working with the agent, you can use Xtrace as a memory layer, and then you can use that memory layer to share with other AI agents. And it's become portable and shareable. So you have this memory mode and data mode when you're working with the agents. And then by combining this, we can make sure that the agents' collaboration are secure and stateful, so that AI agents, when they're collaborating, they can always refer to past episodic memory and making sure that they'll autonomously improve and scale. So we have delivered this missing privacy layer for the future. We created encrypted vector database and memory that supports semantic search over ciphertext, so that all the data that is being searched can be sent using like an encrypted query. And then the main breakthrough we had is that we use homomorphic encryption, but change the overhead 700 times faster. So originally, like a processing of a data chunk can take you 30 seconds, and we accelerated to 0.092 milliseconds. So this almost make it to near zero search, and then make it really fast and private data sharing possible. So by combining all of this, we believe that there's a lot of new building blocks that can create this collaborative ecosystem on the multiplayer scheme that they can support, that acts like a Dropbox for AI agents, and making sure that even the Dropbox data server can never see the data that's shared and transferred between each other AI agents. So this is the architecture of Xtrace, which is live right now. So any agent or any enterprise can use our SDK to encrypt the data, and it'll be sent out to our managed service. Now say like any agent running a TE, they can send out encrypted query to fetch encrypted results. So this is a really great technical breakthrough, because previously without our solution, the agent leaving a TE to search for external data, like to conduct something like a Perplexity search, they have to load the whole internet database inside the TE, decrypt it, and do all the RAG pipeline. But instead, using our solution, they can now simply send out encrypted query, and we'll handle the data that is being identified data that the agent needs, and then send back the encrypted result so the agent can decrypt like the 5 out of the 10 million data and then use it for inference time scaling. And then we're also making the compute that happens in the TE stateful, so that now the AI agents can have their own encrypted memory and then expand and then collaborate based on top of that. So for any developers that are building external agents that are for other enterprise, the enterprise usually doesn't want to share their proprietary data with the external developer. But using Xtrace solution, this paradigm can definitely be solved. The enterprise can now use our SDK to encrypt all their vector data, and then now the agent developer can still build on top of this vector database. And I'll invite my CTO to do like a really quick demo of our live solution right now. Peter, do you mind pinging Liwen on the chat?
So Liwen is here. Now I just gotta find his screen. 1 second. Do we have Liwen in the house?
Yeah. Sorry,
all right, Liwen, feel free. Here's your screen, and take it away.
Okay, cool. So hi everyone, I'm Liwen. I'm here to demo how Xtrace SDK and the developer dashboard works. So in order to use Xtrace SDK, first you need to log in to the developer portal of Xtrace, and then you can create knowledge bases or retrieve API keys and manage the permissions of the API keys to knowledge bases. Right. Once you have retrieved a API key, then you can use that API key to work with Xtrace SDK. And now let me show you an example of how a typical user would use Xtrace SDK to load data privately onto Xtrace managed service and retrieve relevant context data for the AI agent with a encrypted query. So now you can see, in order to use the SDK, you will need all these infos from the developer portal. And once you have these infos, you can basically create a data loader, which is a Xtrace implemented data loader that can encrypt your data locally and then send the ciphers to Xtrace managed service. So now let me run this. It's going to take a while. But also, I want to emphasize that in addition to the semantic search, which Felix has talked about extensively, we also support like metadata search. As you can see out here, I defined a list of metadata for each chunk, and then and then here's some dummy metadata I make just for demo purpose. So yeah, now the data has been successfully loaded to X-Trace server, and I'll show you a log so that you can tell all the data are encrypted, as you can see here. So these are the data chunks, and these are the indexes. They are all ciphers, right? So now let me show you how to retrieve data. It's also very simple. It works exactly like how you would use a regular vector database like Pinecone. So you just, define a retriever and then retrieve the relevant data. Oh, by the way, the data is about a recent news post about Microsoft cooperating with Elon Musk. And now my query is like why Elon Musk is partnering with Microsoft, and then here are the relevant data chunks that is being returned, right? Also, I need to show you the logs so that you know the query is also encrypted, right? So yeah, here's the query. As you can see, it's also encrypted. Now, finally, once you have the relevant context data, you can just feed it into whatever AI agent you are running locally or in your TE. So right now, so this is basically me feeding the context data into a DeepSeek model. And as you can see, it's correctly answering the question like why Elon Musk is partnering with Microsoft, which he shouldn't be able to answer without an external knowledge base like X-Trace. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming, Li Wen and Felix, and telling us more about X-Trace. Really great stuff that you guys have been building out lately, and I highly recommend giving them a follow if you're interested in space. So lastly, I'm just gonna walk you through some of the most bullish news happening in the NEAR ecosystem in the past month. If you don't know, and if you haven't already signed up, I highly encourage you to do so. NEAR Protocols Kaito leaderboard is live, and there are monthly rewards for the top yappers. If you haven't already signed up, go do it now. Start yapping about NEAR and start trending and moving up the ranks. Next one up, NEAR has lately upgraded the chain signatures check. So now you're able to move assets freely between Solana, Ton, Sui, Aptos, and of course entirely enabled by NEAR and controlled by a single NEAR account. Cointelegraph announced recently that there's a Bitwise ETF being filed for in Delaware. Not sure what to do about that information. Next up, we have Crinix, who just released the Crinix Node 2.5. And Crinix is a distributed orchestration layer on edge devices, which means you can leverage the power of your own computer to provide AI services and get rewarded for it. Unlike traditional AI relying on massive cloud infrastructure, Crinix runs entirely on the collective power of community-owned devices. So your contribution directly fuels the network. And Crinix uses a trustless protocol to manage AI tasks without the need for traditional validators. Instead, it incentivizes node operators like you with proof of meaningful work. I really encourage you to check it out and read more about what Crinix is all about doing. It's super cool. It's been mentioned a few times. The Mindshare agent was launched prior this month, and basically the idea is if your trading strategy was not driven by charts but by conversation. So the Mindshare index tracks what the crypto community is actually talking about on social media, and then it makes trades based on that, all autonomously and all on chain. And it's been built with Shade agents, and these AI-powered bots live in trusted execution environments for secure off-chain computation. So every action is verified on-chain by a smart contract, ensuring full transparency and zero trust assumptions. So it's not just a bot, it's actually a new trading primitive. Pretty cool. Check it out. If you didn't notice, there was a recent interview with Ilya on the AI16Z Crypto Pod, and where Ilya, he describes how NIA's architecture addresses the scalability, privacy, and interoperability and coordination needs of an agentic internet, where AI agents autonomously execute complex tasks on behalf of human users. Each core component of NIA's tech stack is an enabler of this vision, forming a cohesive and powerful platform for AI innovation, ownership, and AI agents. So if you haven't already listened to the interview, I highly recommend it. It will provide you with a clear understanding where AI, the most powerful technology developed to this day, is heading, and why crypto, specifically NEAR also, is the rails enabling a truly autonomous future that acts in your best interest. If you have the time, when you're done watching this, head over to the Coinbase Machine Learning and Blockchain Research Summit 2025, where Ilya will share his roadmap to a user-owned AI model and unpack why developers, founders, businesses, and users alike will benefit from a future powered by blockchain and AI. He is presenting among other prominent people in the space, and it's a great opportunity to get to know much more about what NEAR is all about. Lastly, I want to give a huge shout out to Cameron and the AI team. If you haven't already tuned in to the weekly ship stream with Cameron, give it a watch. This is where the alpha is. Last week, we hit episode 10. So huge shout out to Cameron for highlighting all the good AI stuff being shipped on NEAR week after week. And of course, a huge shout out to all the projects building on NEAR. Keep pushing it. Thanks for watching, everyone. The future is near and is not waiting. What you saw wasn't theory, it was execution. NEAR is not pitching ideas, it's shipping infrastructure for AI, for agents, for the next era of the internet. In a world where intelligence is abundant, coordination is the new alpha, and NEAR is where coordination scales. This community is grinding, building, and showing the world what's possible. You're early, but more importantly, you're very essential. Shout out to every dev, founder, and community contributor pushing the vision forward. NEAR isn't just a protocol, it's a movement for a user-owned internet. As always, none of what was just presented is financial advice. Do your own research and use your own judgment. But if you're paying attention, you know where the signal is. Subscribe to NEAR Week to stay in the loop. And if you're building something amazing, this stage is yours. Do not hesitate to hit us up. See you next month. Keep building, stay AI, and remember, the future coordinates on NEAR. See you next month, everyone. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Truly Open AI is NEAR. Follow NEAR Protocol. Subscribe to NEAR Week.